Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your primetime destination news, newsmakers, talking points. Our big talking point is coming from a Delhi court dismissing the Enforcement Directorate's charge sheet for now against the Gandhis. What does this mean for that big case? Is this a political witch hunt by the ED as the Congress claims, or is it simply a procedural matter that's been decided for now as the BJP insists? That's our political face-off. We'll also be joined by Abhishek Manu Singhvi, lawyer for the Gandhis. Also, millions spent on Messi. But what is the messy state of Indian football? That too is our talking point. Okay, let's turn to the big story that's breaking today. There's been a major twist in the Sydney terror attack. The mass shooting that took place at Bondi Beach, in which at least 16 people died on Sunday. A 50-year-old Sajid Akram, one of the main shooters, the father of the father-son duo. One of them, Sajid, is from Hyderabad. That's right. Until now, there were reports that they were of Pakistani origin, the Akrams, the father-son duo. Now it's confirmed that Sajid Akram is from Hyderabad, was traveling on an Indian passport, migrated to Australia in 1998. Telangana police say Sajid visited India 6 times since migrating to Australia, had very little contact with his family. The Hyderabad police is saying there is no link of his radicalization of Sajid to India. There were no reports also of criminal activity he was engaged in. And Sajid and Naveed visited the Philippines only last month. And Sajid visited it, I repeat, on an Indian passport. Australian Prime Minister Albanese says the shooters were inspired by Islamic State. So there is a Indian angle, although his origin really has nothing to do with the crime that took place, that dastardly crime in Australia. Joining me now is Abdul Bashir, who's been tracking the family down in Hyderabad. We are told, Abdul, when you went to the area, the relatives say they've hardly ever met Sajid ever since he went to Australia in 1998. But they must be shocked that he is the one who is one of the prime accused now and the attacker who was involved in this terrible, heinous terror attack.
Well, yes, the family members here say that he has left India in November 1998 after his graduation. He's finished his graduation in commerce, his bachelor's in commerce, and then he left India in the search of job or employment to Australia, where he settled, marrying an European origin woman. Verona Gorosso is her name, is what the family had to say. But the family has clearly said that it is hardly that 6 times in this 27 years of life he's travelled back to India, that is Hyderabad. And recent visit, what we are learning through our sources, was on 2022, and he did not even return when his father had passed away for the final rites here in Hyderabad. So this is what the family have to say. His brother here resides with his family here in Tolichoke area. It's clear that Sajid was born and brought up in Hyderabad, in the old city area in Tolichoke area of Hyderabad. This is the main junction where he was there 27 years ago. But after that, he has no roots, and any links to the radicalization have not been linked to the family members or the city here in Hyderabad. Now, the family say the authorities have clarified that radicalization was not done or linked here to Hyderabad or India, is what they have to say. And Sajid did not have any adverse record before during his stay in Hyderabad or during before the migration, is what the police have to say.
Okay, those details coming out, a real shocker there, coming out that one of the attackers was on an Indian passport. His son Naveed is an Australian citizen, is also being told to us. Appreciate, Abdul Bashir, you joining us with our breaking news at the top. Let's turn straight there then to our top political story, where a Delhi court today refused to take cognizance of the controversial Enforcement Directorate charge sheet against Rahul Gandhi and his mother Sonia Gandhi, among others, in the National Herald case, where the Gandhis were accused of money laundering by the Enforcement Directorate. Today, this was a major relief for the Gandhis and a setback of sorts for the Enforcement Directorate, even though the agency sources claim that the issue is purely procedural. The merits of the case have not been decided and they will appeal against the Delhi court verdict. What does this all mean for the Congress's first family? That's our top focus. Take a look first at this report.
A big relief for Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi in the National Herald takeover case. A Delhi court has refused to take cognizance of the money laundering charge sheet filed by Enforcement Directorate against the Congress leaders in the case. The Rouse Avenue Court raised the complaint filed by the ED under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act was not maintainable as it was based on a private complaint filed rather than a formal FIR. The ED had acted on a complaint by former BJP MP Subramanian Swamy. Special Judge Vishal Gogne noted that the Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police has filed an FIR in the case. ED sources said the court's order was based on technical grounds and did not address the merits of the case. Sources say that with an FIR now registered by the Delhi Police, the ED will continue its probe and file a fresh charge sheet. The ED alleges that the takeover of National Herald by a company promoted by the Gandhis is a clear instance of money laundering. The central agency is likely to challenge the court order. The Congress hailed the Delhi court's order.
Today, the judgment is significant because cognizance is the lowest form of dealing with a case. It is very easy to take cognizance of a case. It means that the case is not worth taking cognizance of. And here you see the amount of the halla gulla shor machaya hai. BJP has made a superstructure of exaggeration.
जो उन्हें करना है वो करते रहें। हकीकत ये है कि नेशनल हेरल्ड इस राष्ट्र की एक धरोहर है, इट्स अ हेरिटेज। उसके खिलाफ जो साजिशें रची जाएंगी, अंग्रेजों ने भी रची थी, वो नहीं सफल हुए, इन लोगों ने भी रची, ये भी नहीं सफल होंगे।
The BJP described the ruling as temporary relief for the Gandhis.
ये अभी टेम्पररी उनको राहत अपने भले महसूस करें, लेकिन जब फाइनल फैसला आएगा तो वो कांग्रेस के नेताओं ने जिन लोगों ने घोटाला किया है, ये फाइनल फैसला उनके विरुद्ध जाना ही है।
Congress party of course saying that this is a big win, that there are no evidences, no base to the charges against the Gandhis and the Congress party in the National Herald case. But as a political issue, this will continue as long as the EOW investigation does. In New Delhi, this is Anisha Mathur for India Today.
And my first guest tonight is the lawyer for the Gandhis, senior lawyer, four-time MP of the Congress party, Abhishek Manu Singhvi joins us. Appreciate your joining us, Dr. Singhvi. It appears that while a Delhi court has dismissed the money laundering complaint registered by the ED against the Gandhis in the National Herald case, the court has also made it clear they are not pronouncing on the merits of the case. So is the celebration in the Congress premature that the Gandhis have been let off? Because that is not quite the case.
You judge for yourself, Rajdeep. Let me put it in perspective for your viewers. The judge has refused to take cognizance of the complaint. Cognizance is the lowest form of entertaining something. He has thought it not fit enough even to take cognizance, which is the basic entry point. Point number two, he has in effect said that there is no predicate offense, the underlying main offense, which is the dog, without which the tail cannot wag, because the ED is always a consequential offense. So, in the absence of a FIR, which is what the judge has found, there is no consequential ED offense made out. Point number three, the result is that for the last 2-3 years, with 50 hours of interrogation of Rahul Gandhi, with 10 hours of interrogation of a lady like Sonia Gandhi, with all this hullabaloo every day in the press, shooting through every possible channel and newspaper that there is a big scam going on, we now find that all that investigation is on the basis of a non-existent FIR. Number four, if this judgment,
No,
as it stands,
Dr. Singhvi, I must stop. Dr. Singhvi.
allow me to explain
what
the
the court
concept.
seems to be suggesting is procedural because it's based on a private complaint that was filed by Dr. Swami.
Allow
But the
me to-
judge observed that the Delhi Police's Economic Offences Wing has since registered an FIR in the matter, and therefore the ED can carry on the investigation based on that FIR.
So therefore, I was just coming to the point. You must first realize that for the last 3 to 4 years, you are going on something which is today being found to be without jurisdiction. The consequence, according to me in law, would be that all that investigation becomes null and void. Now, what will happen in the future will be for us to challenge. We don't know. Today, 2 weeks ago, or 1 month ago, they have filed a new FIR. The new FIR is basically the same thing as the old with some few things added. Now, whether that will stand the scrutiny or not will have to be seen. It's open to all our challenges. Cognizance of that is a separate issue. My point is, how is it premature? That means all the hullabaloo you saw on your channels, all the newspaper leaks you saw on the newspapers, all the shouting from the rooftops you saw by the BJP and the government against National Herald, that was all a premature shouting. If that was not premature, why is our celebration premature? Today, it is.
So,
you can always
how does the
procedural.
courts? So, if I may ask you, how do you believe that the court's refusal to take cognizance of the EC's charge sheet, based, of course, on Dr. Swami's complaint, validate your earlier arguments that you've been making about the absence of a predicate offence or the alleged procedural flaws in the National Herald case? Why do you believe this is a victory for you?
Please don't keep calling it procedural. That's your characterization, and it's a mischaracterization. It's highly substantive. Our case was what? That you had an ED barking up a tree for the last 3 or 4 years without the body of the main scheduled offense being there. That's a substantive issue. The first principle of PMLA is that you cannot have a tail, which is the ED consequential offense, wagging without the existence of a dog, which is a predicate offense, the FIR. Now, this court has found that there is no FIR in terms of a requirement of law under the PMLA Act. There has to be a police report, police complaint. There is none. Mr. Subramanian, Dr. Subramanian Swami started a private complaint, which most of us tend to forget. He himself got a stay of his own complaint and the proceedings before the magistrate. He got it stayed himself by the High Court. Now, there is nothing on which it could proceed yet. What did you hear politically and legally for the last 3 or 4 years? 56 hours of interrogation of Rahul Gandhi. Mr. Kharge and Madam Sonia Gandhi had hours. That was on what? On the basis of a non-existent FIR. And we are not entitled to tell you that this puts mud on the face of the ED. It makes them look foolish. Now, a month and a half ago, after 4 or 5 years of doing this, they tried to file another FIR, which is a rehash of the old with some very limited new facts. That will take its own course. We will deal with it. I'm sure we will be able to point out equally.
So you're seemingly suggesting
gaps.
You're seemingly
It's a major
suggesting this, according to you, this is a classic case of the process being the punishment. You seem to be suggesting this is a classic case of the process being the punishment. The ED sources who are telling us, saying, A, they're going to appeal against this lower court order, and they believe they still have substantial evidence, they claim, to prove money laundering.
So let me answer both your questions. It is certainly process being the punishment. That is the rule in most of these cases, because for the simple reason, Rajdeep, you and I know, the conviction rate in this is abysmally low. So everybody is going to be acquitted, but you harass them because the process is the punishment. That's putting it mildly. Secondly, they will of course appeal. Nobody can prevent their right to appeal, but we are talking as of today. As of today, they have mud on their face because they've been prosecuting. And why were they shouting so much? It is because politically it suits them to say this is a huge scam. Arey bhai, it was a huge scam. You didn't have a FIR on it. You were relying on a private complaint by someone who himself got his own proceeding stayed. Does the ED have to be taught some basic law? And certainly calling it procedural is nothing. That's just a characterization in a self-serving manner. It is a very substantive fatal flaw. Right from the famous case of Vijay Madan Lal Chaudhary, which is a basic case, it has been held that without the basic offense of an FIR, you can't have a PMLA offense. Now, I can tell you that this new FIR is also full of flaws, but I'm not at the moment going to reveal to you our strategy or our decision about it. But to say that now everything is hunky-dory because last 4 years are washed off. lack of jurisdiction. The entire investigation goes. What were you investigating, Rajdeep? Your investigation corpus, let's say, is 10 volumes. That 10 volume is based on non-existent FIR. What is the value of that, evidentiary value of that?
Okay, let me leave it there, Dr. Singhvi. You've clearly given your reasons why you believe what's happened today is, to use your words, mud on the face of the Enforcement Directorate, and you seem to suggest it is certainly a vindication of the stand that you've taken. We'll wait and see how that plays out. But for now, for joining us, Dr. Singhvi, appreciate you joining me. Okay, we've heard from the Gandhi's lawyer. Let's go to our political face-off. Raise the big question. Is this a political witch hunt by the Enforcement Directorate, as the Congress claims? Is the process the punishment in most Enforcement Directorate cases? Is the Congress really right to claim vindication? Or is it, as the BJP says, no clean chit for the Congress and the Gandhis? Those are some of the questions I'll raise. I'm joined by Sanju Verma of the BJP's national spokesperson and Mahima Singh of the Congress. Appreciate you joining us on the political face-off. Sanju Verma, it appears that the Delhi court's refusal to take cognizance of the National Herald money laundering case by the ED against the Gandhis is clearly a setback for the Enforcement Directorate. It gives the Congress more ammunition to say this entire case, which is based on a private complaint of November 2012, is simply being used as political vendetta.
You know, Rajdeep, a few things. First and foremost, the Delhi police has already filed an FIR on the 16th of December 2025. And going forward, now the trial will take place on the basis of not a private complaint filed by Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, but on the basis of the FIR filed by Delhi police, point number one. Point number two, the Delhi High Court not taking cognizance is procedural. It is not based on merits of the case. Point number three, just like they say that if you're out on bail, you're neither innocent nor guilty, simply not taking cognizance does not mean that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have been given a clean chit. It simply means that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi will continue to face trial, albeit on the basis of the new FIR which has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate.
Ma'am, a new FIR comes in, no, just a minute. A new FIR comes in 13 years after the original private complaint. It almost seems that that the ED didn't have enough to back its original charge of money laundering. Now comes with a new FIR based on what the Delhi Economic Offences Wing has done. It almost seems as if the original case is falling apart 13 years after the private complaint.
You know, Rajdeep, you said at the start you don't want a tutu meme. But I barely spoke for 30 seconds and you could not control yourself. You gave in to the temptation of interjecting me. Please let me complete very humbly. Please let me finish. I just want to tell you, I want to tell Abhishek, Manu Singhvi and your audience, which is the biggest stakeholder in these debates, does the charge of conspiracy, criminal conspiracy at that, wide section 120B of the IPC, has that been dismissed by the High Court? No. Under 403 of the IPC, misappropriation of property by Sonia and Rahul Gandhi, has that charge been dismissed by the Delhi High Court? No. The case of cheating under section 420 of the IPC, has the Delhi High Court dismissed that charge? No. And more importantly, under section 406 of the IPC, criminal breach of trust, which is a predicate offense, has the Delhi High Court dismissed that? No. Because I want to end by just saying one thing. In the PMLA under section 2 and 3, if the charge is a predicate offense, then it automatically becomes non-bailable and cognizable. So the Gandhis actually are going to see...
I have to go. I am waiting to see what happens. I've been waiting. Ma'am, I've heard you now. I've heard you patiently. I've been waiting, in fact, patiently for 13 years to see this case reach its logical conclusion. But Mahima Singh, respond to it. I asked this also earlier to Dr. Singhvi. There's a sense that is the Congress being premature in celebrating, given the fact that the merits of the case will continue to be argued, and importantly, the ED says it will carry on with the investigation now based on this new FIR. How do you respond to what you heard just now from Sanju Verma?
Jai Hind, and I think Dr. Singhvi had responded to your query befittingly. But every time I see BJP spokespersons speak on these issues, It seems like they're the spokespersons of the ED and EC and the other institutions, constitutional bodies, which the BJP has, in self-proclamation, they have assumed these institutions, the precious constitutional institutions of this country, to be their pawns. But it's only a matter of time. I must say that today a new era has begun. By this order that has come out from a district court, I would say that end of vendetta politics has begun, and I can say it with utter confidence. And yes, our celebration is not premature. We must ask a few questions today of ourselves and of those who have been claiming that the Congress has Congress leaders are involved in these cases. Now we must ask that why was the BJP questioning when we came out in protest when our leaders were summoned? Because now the BJP, the district court has actually refused to take cognizance of the proceedings itself. Malafide is being seen outrightly. We must also question why a complainant, Mr.
The
Dr.
court did not use the word malafide, ma'am. That's your word. Court did not use the word malafide. That's your word. Court has said on procedural grounds.
But the court has refused to take cognizance of this case after 12 years. And at whose cost? Rajdeep, we must ask that question. At the cost of public time and money. We must also question what should be the fate of complainants like Dr. Subramanian Swamy, who came to the court and then took this and got disinterested.
This can't be a monologue.
Wait, ma'am. You have to be patient.
This is the frivolity of the BJP spokespersons. They want all the discipline.
No. Rajdeep is giving you unlimited time. This is not fair, Rajdeep.
I'm giving equal time. Sanju Verma, equal time. 30 seconds more. Mahima Singh, 30 seconds more. Complete your argument. I'm giving you 30 seconds more.
You see, the opposition has been claiming that there is vendetta politics, that there are 95% cases against the Congress party, against the opposition parties, of which the conviction rate is very well known. So I think, as I said earlier, this marks the commencement of a new era, the end of vendetta politics, because now the courts will teach, the judiciary will teach a lesson to the BJP, and the truth will prevail, as we have always maintained.
Okay, you're saying based on this one verdict, a new dawn will begin. But let me put some facts to you, to both of you and to our viewers. ED's PMLA probes, June 1, 2014 to October 10, 2025. Number of cases, 6,312. Convictions, 120. Closure reports, 93 since 2019. This is based on a government's reply in Lok Sabha. So what we are seeing is a very low conviction rate. We're seeing cases drag on Sanju Verma for years. The process is the punishment. And the fact is, Mahima Singh is right, more than 90% of the cases are against opposition leaders when it comes to PMLA. In that context, what the court has done will, as I repeat, give more ammunition to the opposition to say BJP is engaging in vendetta politics, using the ED as its weapon.
Rajdeep, you gave a free run to the Congress party. Now, I don't want you to interject me because you have this very bad habit of giving lectures to the BJP on patience. Sanju Verma showed decorum. I'm going to show decorum and patience, provided you behave like a neutral journalist. I want to ask one thing. Have the Gandhis been acquitted? No. Have the Gandhis been given a clean sheet by the Delhi High Court? No. And you forgot to mention a very important thing, Rajdeep Sardesai, that the magistrate had said Sonia and Rahul Gandhi should be given a copy of the FIR. The Delhi High Court said that Sonia and Rahul Gandhi need not get a copy of the FIR from the Delhi police because this is an ongoing investigation. Very quickly now, wait for 30 seconds without, interjecting. Did the Congress party give an interest-free, collateral-free loan to the Gandhis? Yes. Did the Gandhis fail to repay 90.25 crore? Yes. Did the Gandhis take 76% stake in Associated Journals via a company called Young Indian? Yes. Did the Gandhis convert loan into equity? Yes. And did the Gandhis do all this within the ambit of law? No. You have not studied corporate finance.
All of this, all of what you've just said, madam, all of which you've just said, all of which you've just said, I've heard for the last 13 years now. The truth of the matter is, if this was a money laundering case where money laundering was proven by now, it should have gone to trial and conviction. That's my limited point. You've been saying this and I've been hearing this for the last 13 years.
No,
Where
Rajdeep,
is
no, please.
the point which is made? You'll have to prove the money laundering
Can I please finish?
or profiteering.
Rajdeep
No,
Sardesai,
please tell me.
let me just say one thing to you. What has Abhishek Manu Singhvi been saying? He has been saying Young Indian is a Section 8 company. Earlier it was called a Section 25 company, under which the directors do not get any dividends. The directors are not liable to get any salaries. But what Abhishek Manu Singhvi does not tell you, please read the 117-page verdict of the Delhi High Court, that Young Indian / Associated Journals Limited is not a non-profit company to start with. Has AJL or has Young Indian ever established a school, a college? What kind of social objectives were achieved? Have they done any charitable work? That is a question Rajdeep Sardesai will not answer.
So
Tell me, I know what Azim Premji Foundation has done. I know what charitable work Reliance Foundation has done. Tell me the charitable work done by Young Indian is appropriating 5,000 crore worth of property by paying 50 lakhs as check. That too only a book entry.
Ma'am,
the
I've heard
Gandhi's
you.
way of doing charity. Tell me, no, I want to ask you as a
made
journalist,
your
you
point.
keep talking
All of
12
these,
years, 12
madam,
years.
I've heard you now.
What is the charitable work
Okay,
done by
I've heard
Young
you.
Indian,
Mahima,
Rajdeep? What is the charitable
okay,
work
all
done
of
by Young
this,
Indian?
all of this over the last 14 years should have led by now surely to some kind of trial and conviction, which has not happened yet. But Mahima Singh, the fact is the ED claims that the overall proceedings of crime exceed 5,000 crores based on the value of which 2,000 crores represents the value of Associate Journal Limited's assets. The probe agency says it's attached 661 crore of immovable properties, 90.2 crores worth of AJL shares. They claim based on a 2017 income tax order that there are 414 crores in alleged tax evasion linked to these assets. All of this has to still go through a process of law. I say the process may well be a punishment, but at the same time, there is no clean chit. A quick final answer.
And we have not denied participating. We have duly participated in the process of law. However, the BJP spokesperson's naivety is pitiable, Rajdeep, I must say. Because one question that, has raised eyebrows today after this verdict came out from a Delhi court is, if ED could not have proceeded without an FIR under the PMLA, then at whose behest had this case proceeded over the last 13 years, number one. Now, the other, other point of naivety in the BJP spokesperson's rhetoric was that she's talking about converting to equity. Let me remind her that converting debt to equity is a very common way to revive a company. And let me give her an example. The government of India did that. The government of India, please let me not make you take
No, she did not interrupt you. Sanju Verma put a voice down. Sanju Verma, you cannot interrupt her. She did not interrupt you.
The government of India, Rajdeep.
Go ahead, finish up.
The naive BJP spokesperson must remember the government of India itself did the same thing with Vodafone. Banks have done it with Jet Airways. And unlike those firms, I must remind that AJL's restructuring led to resurrection of National Herald, Navjeevan and Qawmi Awaz, which are still running as rightful newspapers and are doing good service to the society. So the BJP spokesperson must educate herself well before speaking on such critical matters. She must answer critical questions before bringing the rhetoric to the surface.
There are still questions, of course, over the relationship between Young India and AJL. All of these questions, of course, will still continue to be part of an ED investigation. The problem, of course, is it's now 13 years, I repeat, 13 years since Dr. Subramaniam's private complaint on the basis of which originally the ED investigation was carried out. My hair has grown grey by then, and we would hope that our legal system would at least ensure either way that we reached a finite conclusion. In the absence of that, we will always suggest, or there will be the suggestion that this is a classic case where the process becomes part of the punishment. Sanju Verma, Mahima Singh, for joining me on my face-off, thank you very much. Okay, let's turn to another big story, this time coming in from Parliament, where the Narendra Modi government today introduced in the Lok Sabha the Viksit Bharat G bill, which will replace the Mahatma Gandhi National Employment Guarantee Act. Now, this has become a trigger for a political showdown, with the opposition claiming A, that Mahatma Gandhi's name has been removed, and also suggesting now that the funding to this scheme could be transferred from the center to the states, putting additional burden on the states. All of this is leading to a potential political face-off. Take a look at why this new bill is so contentious.
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, एक योजना का नाम था जवाहर रोजगार योजना।
Parliament witnessed high-voltage drama on Tuesday as the Narendra Modi government introduced the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajeevika Mission Gramin, or VBG Bill. The proposed legislation will replace the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. With the new bill, the centre is pushing a major reset of rural employment.
इसके पहले कई रोजगार की योजना आई।
While MGNREGA guaranteed 100 days of work, the VBG bill ups it to 125 days. MGNREGA was fully funded by the centre, whereas VBG makes the state provide 40% of the funding. The opposition accused the BJP of dismantling a flagship welfare scheme linked to Mahatma Gandhi. The Congress called it an attempt to centralize control and dilute workers' rights.
महात्मा गांधी जी मेरे परिवार के नहीं थे, लेकिन मेरे परिवार जैसे ही हैं और इस पूरे देश की यही भावना है सर। गहन जांच पड़ताल और व्यापक चर्चा के लिए इसे कम से कम स्थायी समिति के पास भेजा जाना चाहिए और कोई विधायक किसी की निजी महत्वाकांक्षा, सनक और पूर्वाग्रहों के आधार पर न तो पेश होना चाहिए और न ही पास होना चाहिए।
The government hit back. Rural Development Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan argued the bill is for public welfare, insisting Gandhi lives in our hearts and that VBG reflects Ram Rajya.
बापू हमारे दिलों में बसते हैं, उनका हम पूरा सम्मान करते हैं। और बापू ही कहते थे राम राज, राम हमारे रोम रोम में रमे हैं, राम हमारी हर सांस में बसे हैं। बिना राम के ये देश नहीं जाना चाहता। पता नहीं क्यों जी राम जी नाम आ गया तो ये भड़क गए।
Protests spilled outside the house as well. Opposition leaders accuse the centre of being anti-Gandhi and politicizing Lord Ram.
ये नाम बदलने की राजनीति बहुत दिन चलने वाली नहीं है। ये ग्राफ इनका नीचे जा रहा है और मैंने पहले भी कहा, फिर कहता हूँ, जिस समय ये कमजोर हो जाते हैं उस समय रिलीजियस और कम्युनल ज्यादा हो जाते हैं।
Some MPs staged a dramatic rooftop protest at the old parliament. Meanwhile, NDA ally TDP flagged concerns, warning of added financial burden on states.
It's a welcome move that whatever amendments that you're bringing in with respect to the betterment of NREGA, at the same time, this is what Andhra Pradesh is facing from 2014 itself, and you have been helping us. And last 1.5 years, people of Andhra have seen how much union government has helped, and we expect and we request that help to continue even with respect to the NREGA going forward.
Despite the storm, government sources say the centre is determined to pass the VBG bill in this session, clearing way for approval in the upcoming budget session, and remains firm that the name won't be changed. With Maushmi Singh and Aishwarya Palawal in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let's turn to the next big story. Messi mania has claimed a victim. West Bengal Sports Minister Arup Biswas resigned today amidst the chaos that took place when Lionel Messi visited Kolkata, which Mamata Banerjee, the West Bengal Chief Minister, admitted had brought shame to the city and had apologized to the fans. Today, the sports minister resigned amidst the Messi mania that took place across the country, though there is another question that deserves to be asked. How did the multi-million dollars that was spent on the Argentinian star's visit to the country actually help India's sporting infrastructure? A question that was posed by none other than India's first Olympic gold medalist for individual events, Abhinav Bindra, today. Take a look first at this report.
Lionel Messi's much anticipated visit to India, hailed as a celebration of football, has instead unfolded as a story marked by administrative disarray, celebrity indulgence and environmental disregard. What should have been a monumental sporting event has turned into an uncomfortable reflection of how India views sport. In Kolkata, a city that once prided itself as the Mecca of football in India, Messi's arrival became a cause of frustration rather than celebration. What was meant to be a historic moment for football in India turned into a logistical nightmare, with poor planning, political interference, and utter disregard for crowd control, leaving the city's die-hard football enthusiasts betrayed. Bengal Sports Minister Arup Biswas has resigned. The Mamata Banerjee government has suspended one DCP and issued show-cause notices to several top officers. In Mumbai, the spotlight shifted away from football altogether. Instead of Messi's skill on the pitch, the focus was on Bollywood celebrities with little to no connection to the sport. Social media exploded with critiques asking why Messi's visit had become more about celebrity optics and exclusive access to the beautiful game itself. All of this for a visit that reportedly cost a staggering 120 crores for just 3 days of footballer spectacle. To put it in perspective, the money spent on Messi's brief tour could have funded 3 full seasons of the Indian Super League, India's premier football competition, at a time when the league is struggling to stay afloat. The ISL remains in a state of limbo. Hundreds of players without contracts, commercial rights going untapped, and India's second-tier I-League failing to attract any serious investment. Sunil Chhetri and Gurpreet Singh Sandhu are being forced to issue desperate public appeals for the survival of Indian football. Olympic gold medalist Abhinav Bindra has also raised some searching questions. He has asked if you're building sports or just celebrating stars. He wished that if only a fraction of the money spent on the Messi tour was directed towards sports development, adding that sporting nations are built not by moments but by systems. So as the dust settles on Messi's India visit, a pressing question lingers. Why are we as a nation obsessed with sports stars but unwilling to invest in the sport itself? Bureau Report, India Today.
And to reflect on Messi mania and the stark contrast with the pitiable state of Indian football and those chaotic scenes in Kolkata, I'm joined by a very special guest, someone who's been an iconic footballer for India for years. Baichung Bhutia joins me. Great to have you, Baichung, on the show. It's been quite a few days with the Messi tour. Lots of fan mania that we saw. But questions are being asked, and I want to start with that hundreds of crores spent by sponsors and organizers on the Argentinian football star, could the same money actually have been utilized to lift the standard of Indian football, where we currently land 142nd in the world? Could the money have been spent, as Abhinav Bindra, for example, has suggested, on lifting the quality of sports infrastructure in this country instead of paying all the money to a big football star?
Yeah, I think if you leave the commercial part of it, Messi coming to India definitely is a great and positive sign, because it's going to, I think, we had football news and Messi news for the last 3-4 days, and I think it's going to encourage and motivate and bring awareness to a lot of kids across India to play football. But yes, in terms of commercial, I think it was completely a private entity that did the entire tour. So when the private parties are, I think, involved, they obviously, to bring Messi, it does cost quite a lot of money, and they did it commercially. And there were people, I think, spending money. There were corporates who spend money, and which is a good sign. But I think this also shows that, if they could come forward, especially the corporates and also people who paid quite a few thousands of rupees to get tickets to come and watch Messi, also now would come and start watching Indian football and also spend and invest in Indian football. That would be great. But again, this is a completely private tour, which was a commercial tour. So and they're bound to sell it commercially. And the revenues, obviously, the numbers, what we heard in terms of money, I'm not too sure how much did it cost and what they made. But when it's commercial, you can't
But
help
Mr.
it.
Bhutia, no, Baichung, I have no problem with it being a commercial tour. That's the logic of the market. But the truth of the matter also is, if Indian corporates can spend 10 lakhs to just get a photograph or a selfie with Lionel Messi on a tour where allegedly the economic impact exceeded 500 crores across the 4 cities, I mean, the same money, I repeat, could have gone into building better infrastructure, supporting coaches. That's what Indian football really needs. You don't even have a proper ISL, Indian Soccer League anymore. Indian football is suffering, even as Indians seem to love football stars like Lionel Messi. Should sponsors now be looking to encourage to build on this fan craze into building better sports infrastructure instead of getting temporary euphoria by clicking a photograph with Lionel Messi, especially the sponsors?
Yes, again, if you look at corporates, because every corporate is not going to do charity, they always look back in returns what they get. And I think Indian football should be able to start getting results. Obviously, for that we need to really get our structure, performance right. But if I can give you my own example as well, Baichung Bhutia Football School, BBFS, I've started the academy 15 years ago. In last 15 years, a lot of kids have gone on to play for India in different age groups. Till today, I have not taken a single rupee either from the state government or the central government to help me form this academy. We are the biggest grassroots football program in India today. So there's not been a single rupee or some kind of infrastructure, support from a state, neither the central government as well, and which I've not taken. It's all been through BVFS coaches and the people working there. Through corporate, in the last 2 years, we've been slightly lucky in getting the CSR fund. So yes, I think corporates are also looking at the returns, but sometimes I think there are corporates who've got a lot of CSR fund. And I think if those CSR funds could come into sports rather than anything else, and now the country is also looking at becoming big in terms of sporting nation. We've just got Commonwealth Games in few years, and we're trying to bring in Olympics. And I think that is where the corporates and their CSR money should get into sports. Sporting. I think sports and sporting academies or something like that.
Is part of the problem, Baichung, that Indians love sporting stars, but they don't love sport. We love to see the Messis and Ronaldos. We want to be photographed with Messi. But do we do enough to encourage our homegrown football stars? Do we actually want to build a sporting culture where every kid can get a chance to play the game? We want results at every level. If the Indian team today maybe was to do better at the Asian level, we might actually support the new football stars. But at the moment, nobody actually wants to see sport. They want to see the stars. Isn't that part of the problem?
I think what you say is exactly right. I think we've been more starstruck rather than really, sports oriented. But it's good to see that at least football, as general, I think it's a global sport, and we got such a huge fan following here in India as well. But it's time that we need to start encouraging, supporting the sport overall, and just not try and become a nation where we are only starstruck. And that we've seen even with cricket as well. There are cricketers who are worshipped here in India. But when it comes to actual sport, if there's a good quality cricket between two nations which does not involve, say, India, maybe England or Australia is playing, you don't see that kind of people watching it. So I think it's just been a star kind of a thing which we are getting into starstruck kind of thing, rather than really investing and promoting and watching sports to really push the game forward.
But, there will be those who are listening to you who will say, first the Indian football team needs to start getting results, climb up the rankings, then the sponsors will follow. Sponsors go according to market realities. Today, the truth is, Baichung, a lot of young Indians prefer to watch Manchester City or Barcelona, buy Barcelona or City shirts, but not Indian team shirts, because the Indian team is seen as losers. Football is a global sport in which we've got left behind. Do you believe, therefore, that the real buck stops with the federation, the football federation that is reportedly in a mess and needs to do much more than they are doing today?
Definitely, yes, Rajdeep. If you look into, I think, any in India especially, I think the results are very important where people connect. And whenever any Indian star does it well, international tournament, be it either in badminton or boxing, there has been huge support and fan following. So for in football as well, I think we have to start getting results. But again, personally, I feel the system what we have right now in football, I think it's bit little outdated. The system which is the structure which is already there with states, district level, and every state and district level, I think, are all honorary posts in that. So it becomes very difficult to really have committed people, really working there. So we've got to get this complete system and the structure change, which is going to be a big challenge. Everybody says we need to start from scratch. The way football right now is, we are in a very bad shape, no doubt. And everybody says that we need to start from scratch, which is fine. But for me, I think for starting from scratch, there is already a system and structure which has to be, I think, completely demolished and start from a new.
Can I ask you those? Can I ask you though, is Baichung Bhutia ready to lead the Football Federation? You've attempted it in the past. If you were asked tomorrow, we need a Baichung Bhutia to lead the Football Federation. You've got a private academy, but what we really need is you or Sunil Chhetri to become the flag bearer of Indian football. Would you be ready to do that?
No, I would want somebody who's really got passion, who's got the knowledge about the sport to come and lead. Whether it does not need to be footballer itself. I did try earlier as well, but in India, I think there is a lot of political, involvement in any football association, be it state or the federation. So and I'm not against that. If either state or the central government gets involved into elections of sports federation, I think they need to bring in the right people who's got that passion, knowledge, and ideas to take the sport forward. But just not because somebody is with the party, some particular party, and just try and promote him. I think that's not going to help. So you need to bring in somebody who actually has got the knowledge and passion to take it forward.
That brings me to the other big question, the politics around the Messi visit. We've had the the West Bengal sports minister resigned today after the chaos that we saw in Kolkata, which is one of your home cities, where VVIPs and ministers of the Trinamool Congress seem more keen to get selfies with Messi and Suarez rather than allowing the fans to see them in what is seen as the spiritual home of Indian football. It's that VVIP culture, Baichung, that remains, that many believe caused the chaos in Kolkata. Do you see that the problem is that officials and ministers were more interested in taking selfies with Messi? They're not interested in football.
Exactly, I think, Rajdeep, I think this actually really exposed how much the VIP culture and the political, any big events, it's the politicians, some senior bureaucrats, including the journalist as well, gets into it and try and make the event, entirely captures the event. I think till the time we don't change this mindset, the sport has to be the priority, sport has to be the first thing. I went to one big event here in Delhi. I won't name exactly what it was, a World Cup Coco thing. And I couldn't believe 2 hours of speeches by the leaders, by netas. The sport has to start. People have come there to watch. The players are waiting. And this is not just one particular event which I've seen. It's across everywhere. The players are waiting, the fans are waiting for the sport to start, but then you have political leaders, netas coming in, giving their vasan. Then sometimes if you have in smaller cities and states, when you have a political neta who is the chief guest who comes late, the game itself is delayed because of your chief guest coming late. I think until and unless you don't change this mindset, I think sport is never going to go forward. You have to have sports as a priority, sports person the priority, and the game should be the first thing, not the netas or any self-claimed VIPs. So I think sport has to be given the priority in situations like this.
That's right. Those were the shocking scenes we are showing you on the screens in Kolkata that brought great shame to that city, which is, as I said, the spiritual home of football. But my final question, Baichung, I think you spoke to or got to meet Lionel Messi. Did you tell him anything about the state of Indian football? What was your conversation like with the great Messi? What did you tell him?
No, I didn't get to speak long, just one or two lines because obviously it's a very, very packed schedule. I just said that thanks. I thanked him because my son and my kids, my daughters also do play football, and they've been highly inspired by Messi. So I just said that my kids they love football is because of people like you, and Messi's been their idol as well, especially my son. Yeah, he's the biggest idol, for him. So I just thanked him for that, and just said my kids adore him and love him.
Well, let me leave it on that. We all are fans of Lionel Messi, but some of us at least remain fans of Indian sport and Indian football, which is why we hope that the sponsors and the fans and the organizers who organize the Messi event will now put their money also and their support behind Indian football. Baichung Bhutia, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. Let's turn to the story that's been making the waves, the IPL auction, where we saw plenty of new crorpatis. The big story was Cameron Green, the Australian batting all-rounder who's become the costliest ever overseas player in IPL history. Kolkata Knight Riders have got him for a whopping 25.2 crores. The other big news came from the Indian uncapped players Prashant Veer and Karthik Sharma, who were sold for 14.2 crores. They haven't played for the country, but they are already crorpatis several times over, each of them going to the Chennai Super Kings. Money was clearly rolling in the IPL. It's never affected, it seems, by inflation in particular. Well, that's about all that we could pack in on the show today. Thanks very much for watching. You stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubh Ratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.